So you do that, pop that back. Imagine if I had a little vial of blood. She's here.
Whoa!
Wow.
Elizabeth Holmes has entered the chat. Kia ora koutou, welcome to The Real Pod. My name's Janie, joined.
Dawned.
Jaundice.
No, I think it's fine. That stays in.
Duncan Grieve and Alex Casey / Elizabeth Holmes, but we'll get to that in a moment. I just need to make special mention of the fact that this is our last poddy with Duncan for some time. He's going off on a journey of self-discovery.
I am.
Going to add to your amulet collection, hopefully. Gold chain or an amulet, one or t'other.
Yeah, no, there'll be some jewellery returning with me.
Fantastic. Duncan's going to be away for a bit, so it's going to be Ladies' Night.
Ladies' night.
On the pod.
Maybe even Susan Defoy will join us. Can we tease that as of 2 seconds ago?
We can but hope. We have this idea that we're going to try and replace Duncan for at least one ep with Susan Defoy. This is your reality TV recap, or just, thoughts on, and also pop culture podcast in Aotearoa. Thanks for joining us. Housekeeping is as follows. If you want to join the Real Pod Corner, lots of great chat in there. It's a Facebook group. We love it. It's a private group, but you can be part of it. Or our Discord, again. Lots of chat going on in there. Just go to the links in the show notes and join up, why don't you?
I'm just looking at you and you're like just pure broadcast professional extravagant. That was amazing.
I need to talk about some broadcast professionals in the real news, actually. God, so many teasers.
Yeah.
And we're only like 3 minutes in. Should we get on with it? Or how are you guys? Like one of those? Nah?
Crack
All
on.
that.
Crack on. Let's crack on with the real news. Matoots is pregnant. Matoodles, a.k.a. Matilda Green, a.k.a. Artemis Bartholomew.
Is it?
I don't know where I got that from. No.
What?
Bartholomew.
Greentholomew. I just like to give him a fancy name. His wife met on The Bachelor. Now they're having another batch baby. The third one out from those two alone.
Is this the most Bachelor babies ever?
Oh,
It seems a lot.
I missed number 2.
Missed number two.
There's one in between Milo and this one.
Autumn.
Autumn, yeah. And she announced the news via the medium of podcast. So for anyone out there who doesn't think podcasts are proper news sources, wrong.
Definitively.
Yeah. Case in point, this podcast. So, yeah.
What news have we done?
We're doing it right now.
Oh, right. All of the news.
All
the time.
All of the news, all of the time.
If it's not here, it's not true. Right?
That is what people say.
Yeah, that's our new tagline. In other news, Demi Corney, for those who aren't the uninitiated, Corneys are what the members of the Real Pod Corner aforementioned Facebook group call themselves, got a photo with Alex's doppelganger.
Amazing.
That is fandom, right?
Sophie Hanford, Kapiti City Councillor, former head of the climate strike or something, right?
Future Prime Minister, for sure. So much better than me,
Well, you keep saying that, but I think that's over modest. You've got a lot of stuff. You got that head behind your head.
And the hands.
And
And the
those
hands.
Yeah.
And the potato head.
And you've got a new piece of clothing that we haven't even...
Thank you. Thank you.
Talked about, yeah.
Not even a compliment,
So-
just a fact, but I'll still say thank you.
Talk us through the ensemble.
Oh, we're just going to breeze right past Sophie Hanford and get to my turtleneck?
Well,
I just don't like you saying that she's better than you when all those things are true that I just said.
I will say this. This is the power of the weirdness of the corner, is when someone goes and gets a photo with someone who's not the podcast host, but someone who looks a bit like the podcast host.
I'm waiting for someone to get a photo with Mr. Bean.
If we had access to Mr. Bean, I guarantee we would have photos with him. For me, it's easier. Erica Tokach for me, just to see her out and about. She's a lot better than me also, but we were mistaken for each other. Or Jackie Brown, either or.
Yeah, they're good.
That's fine. But Sophie Hanford must be like, what the hell? I wonder if Demi told her.
Well, she knows.
Yeah, I don't know. I did a whole story about it, but I just hope one day, if she becomes the Prime Minister one day, maybe I could be like a body double.
Well, I was going to say, are you her understudy or is she your understudy?
I'm her understudy. 100%. I don't need any sort of protection or body double.
Body double.
What about stunts? Can you do her stunts for her?
Don't Prime Ministers need body doubles sometimes? Remember when Ivanka Trump had like a body double getting on and off the planes and
I thought a
whatnot?
body double was for when you were shooting scenes and didn't want your bum in them or something. You know, if you're a star.
Kim Kardashian's used a body double before as well, I think, for I think for putting off the media purposes.
Oh,
Well, what do you call it then? Like a stunt double?
Well, a stunt double does your flips and explosions, rides your horses.
Well, like the person who will take a bullet for Sophie Hanford because they look like
that's
Sophie
just a
Hanford.
bodyguard.
Oh, that's a bodyguard.
Oh, well, I don't want to do that.
Well, no, it's like not an imposter. I reckon there is some. Look, we're just sort of workshopping what a word is.
A decoy.
A decoy.
decoy.
Yeah, you're a decoy.
I saw Dynamo's decoy. Did I ever tell you about that? After the big Dynamo show at Spark Arena, I saw Dynamo's decoy go to McDonald's.
What?
I don't know what else.
That feels like a real life read.
You don't need any more information. Everything you need is right there.
Let's circle back to the turtleneck because it can wait no longer.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your thoughts? I'm debuting. I have actually, it's been a soft launch. I've been wearing it for a few days in Christchurch. Same one, to be honest. Same one, just got the one. But it's...
we need more. I mean, look, visually stunning.
Thank you. It's just a black turtleneck.
Is it a mock turtle?
I folded it down. I could go all the way. Could go all the way to a floating head if you want me.
Wow.
You know? But it has chilled down here.
What material?
This is a merino. This is merino.
Wow.
It's merino, and it's used to be my mum's, and I inherited it. She gave me a lot of merino when I moved down here, and it's come in very handy. So no, I'm absolutely loving it. It makes my head feel really secure on my bod.
Good. Was the neck just not up to task?
The neck was not up to it. Ever since I had that neck brace. My neck's been feeling a bit noodly. So it's just nice to have that extra support.
I have a question for you, now both regular turtleneck wearers. They tend to come, they're fitted, right?
Very clingy.
It's very unusual to find a turtleneck that's not fitted. How do you go under the arms? There's that sensation of like clothing that's tightly fitted that just really snugly fits into the armpits there and just there's no hiding.
Well,
Sweat marks when that happens.
But they tend to be
smells.
dark. I mean, mine are navy and sort of crimson. So the crimson one definitely has potential. It's polyester, 100% polyester.
That's a shocker.
Yeah. But that's actually my favourite one. But yeah, I don't recall any blown out pits. Maybe because there's a sort of they sort of design around them so they don't actually stick to the pit, but there's a little enclosure created. Anyway, what about you, Alex?
I'm just constantly sweating. I'm sweating right now. It's actually far too hot for this turtleneck from where I'm sitting.
And 3 days in.
And 3 days in.
Okay.
Well, because it's so cold. I feel like I've been snap frozen like a pea. So I'm not like, the sweat is not happening in the same way. I mean, I know people are not expecting like a scientific podcast that they're getting suddenly, but when Jack Frost arrives, the sweat changes.
Jack Frost is the scientific term, correct?
If it's not here, it's not true.
Pickle got a new jumper too, actually, in knitted woolen news. He got a Barker's jumper, which is fitting.
What?
There's so many puns in that sentence. A Barker's jumper, which is fitting.
Amazing.
It is a beautiful sort of...
Barker's the clothing company.
Yeah,
Barker's.
they're in the dog... I mean, obviously,
They do
it's
dog
just an
wear.
absolute gimme. They're called Barker's for crying out loud.
But they never used to, not in my day.
Yeah, well, they do in my day. And it's a lovely little sweater, and it's so cute, and it's olive green, and it looks smashing on him.
But need pickies of the pickle?
Also do.
Is it like a knit or a
Pickles?
sweater?
It's a knit. It's a knit with a neck hole and armhole, so it's not long sleeve. It's like a vesty, tanky situation.
I had a friend of ours, their teenage son, to entertain himself. Oh golly, what a delight! He clothed his dog, a golden retriever, in his teenage boy outfit, like with like a hoodie and baggy jeans. And this dog, like, there's a photo of this dog, like, eyeballing the camera sort of over his shoulder. And it's the guiltiest Denver since the original Guilty Denver. he doesn't feel good about dressing up as a human teenage boy. Anyway,
It's just something about a dog in clothes. So.
Pickle's
Really good.
Pickle's loving it. Lets me put it on, no problem. It's honestly, I just want him to wear them all the time because cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, another sort of weather-related news. I got a window vac, condensation.
Oh, I've got one of them.
Yeah, look, I don't know why I've resisted
Is
for
it
so
Karcher?
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
This morning, I used it for the first time on my condensation. I was willing it to be cold overnight, and it was. And boy, oh boy,
Did it deliver?
it sucked up the water.
Wow.
And then I used it in the shower.
shower witch?
I squeegeed with Karcher in the shower.
That's next level.
It was a dream. It was a dream,
It's
honestly.
Shower Witch 2.0. I'm
Yeah.
very, very impressed. Do you have to do this every day that there's condensation?
Well, I have
Back to the windows.
I have problems with mouldy window sills and things because I've not been very good at keeping the moisture at bay.
Right.
Too many skivvies. Honestly, my house is one big skivvy.
Now I want to catch a window vac.
Yeah, well,
It is weird for you to be in the real pod for now, at least, to not have one when that is clearly our thing that unites us.
I'd love a Karcher deal.
They're about $100, right? In that
they
realm?
range in price. They range in price, Alex. But your basic one starts in 100 and something, I think. It's
Did you punch up?
punched up because I want to use it to clean my windows as well, not just so I want to be able to have the battery life to go for a decent
Yeah.
amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Anyway, Alex, beautiful
Yeah.
photo of you that I'm looking at. Duncan, you're in it too. You look nice.
Oh, yeah.
Alex is just looking a little bit. One of these things is not like the others. That's all.
This is my bungle of the week at the Voyager Media Awards, which I promise we'll probably stop talking about
I've
after
seen
this
this
week.
photo. This is lovely. Yeah.
We got a lovely group shot on arrival of the whole Spinoff gang. And first of all, I was thrown because this time there were sort of levels, like they had little soft kind of cushiony things to sit on in the front. So immediately I was like, there's levels. We need to do something funny here. I panicked and was like, this is kind of like a class photo. And then Duncan Grieve yelled, rugby hands.
I did.
So I did rugby hands, assuming that, Amber Easby, Claire Maybe on either side of me would also be doing rugby hands, being the cool, classy ladies that they are. And obviously, given that you uttered the call that Duncan Grieve would also be doing rugby hands,
In the very least, right? In the very least, Duncan would be doing them.
the very least, not
did
a soul is doing rugby hands in this
not a
photo,
soul. There's one.
One soul.
apart from me.
Yeah.
And I'm doing rugby feet
You are doing rugby feet too, but gosh,
and
great,
rugby face.
great shoe and outfit, color blocking, dear.
Thank you.
Just honestly gorgeous. You look a treat.
Thank you. But I played myself.
No, well, look, I did your dirty there. That's
Your hands suddenly looking very relaxed, just kind of crossed over gently.
they are good. They do look right.
If only there was a way we could get people to see this photo.
What happened was I called it, looked around, and I think there was maybe like one or two people participating and a whole lot that weren't, and it didn't look like there was a lot of momentum towards the rugby hands movement. And then the photographer just looked like, we have just got to get this group of uggos like through and get the glamorous bit. Like I think there was like Mickey Forbes before us, and then there was like, it was just a lot of flash people there, and you just like when you're the spin-off, even the bright lights are kind of disorienting. And so I just abandoned ship and left you to this abject humiliation.
It's so good, Alex. Thank you. For
I mean,
your
I'm
service.
grateful for the moment now, but yeah, it sticks out a bit, doesn't it? And I've ruined the photo for everybody else, so that's good.
I think you made the photo for everyone else.
That's right.
We'll find a way to get this online, on the Instagram or some such in the corner. This next bit is for you, Alex, because I don't know anything about this.
Oh,
Big Shortland Street
it's just a PSA that there's a big Shortland Street winter cliffhanger coming up this week, and it's over 3 nights.
What?
Which is
How can you
crazy.
have a cliffhanger over 3 nights? It's
Really long.
You're not
hang.
hanging. You're not hanging until
You got
the
very
third
sore
night.
arms.
And then are they taking a break or?
That's where my information runs dry.
No, it's just like a weekend cliffhanger. but it's a story that runs over 3 nights or something.
I think it's just, it is what it is, you know?
That's what it is.
But I've heard from the inside scoop that apparently it's quite experimental and it's very dramatic and it's going to be quite the watch.
I'm tuning
So-
in.
Well, it's
Very
not the
nice.
new Harry Warner getting kidnapped again then, because they've done that. Well, that wouldn't be experimental. That would be old hat, wouldn't it? Is that what the saying? Is that the saying? Old
It
hat?
would be old hat.
Is
Is that a saying?
Sounds like us saying.
That old hat.
if it's
Eat your
not.
hat.
Hats off to you. Okay. I mentioned we were going to discuss some professional broadcasters, and here they are. Dominic Harvey and JJ Feeney. I mentioned last week that there was a podcast, about Dom's podcast, and JJ's went on it. And look, I listened to it. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I'm not going to comment on Dom at all, but JJ, God, I've got a soft spot for that woman. She's had a really freaking tough background that I feel like I knew a little of, but until I listened to this and got more details, I was just amazing that she's achieved what she's achieved given her history, truly, and also given that she was married to Dom Harvey for so long. It's really don't listen to it, because listen to this podcast. But
We could become a runners only recap podcast.
well,
Let's
she
try and-
also, one of the first things she said was why am I here? I'm not a runner. Hate running.
Oh, really? Because I was wondering about that. So he is expanding the remit from runners only to.
Duncan Garner pulled out, so she was late ringing.
Oh, really?
That's the fact.
Why did Garner pull out? Do we know?
I don't know. I had to run off somewhere. I don't know. Presumably, why anyone pulls out of Dom's podcast is because they're running.
Did I tell you that I went on Duncan Garner's podcast?
We had a whole bit about it.
Oh yeah, just play that again.
Okay.
No, I still think the name runners only is really funny. I don't know why, it just gets me.
To be fair, she's done 2 half marathons,
she's
so
a runner.
she qualifies. I think they were a long time ago, and she maybe walked, she doesn't consider herself a runner, and it seems that there was a theme through their marriage, including during the time where she was really, really depressed, that Dom was just like, come on, get running.
Oh God,
Come on,
That's-
it'll cheer you up.
that should be illegal.
Daily pressuring her to exercise, and she's just like, I don't
Oh,
have the
no.
exercise gene, and you do.
Is it okay to say to someone who's got suffering from depression, come on, get running, it'll cheer you up?
No, it's not. And they discussed that, and he's like, oh, in hindsight, that was a bit shit. And she's like, yeah, it was.
I mean, in hindsight, Dom must look back on his whole career and go, that was a bit shit, right?
He does sort of allude to lots of things, lots of that nature, without being specific. But anyway, that was all. I just had to share it with the room. Okay.
I think we need a segment title for JJ News because it feels like every week there's something.
I'm really, honestly, after hearing her on this, I'm back on board the JJ train.
Maybe she could be another of the fill-ins for me when I'm away.
There's a thought.
The Lady Pod.
They did lament, though, the old days where not everyone had a platform, and so they could say whatever shit they wanted, and all the woke police who were worried about diversity and such annoying things like that didn't mess with you.
By that, they mean Alex Casey writing about how the cucumber number was bad.
You single-handedly ruined radio, so it was fun before.
Oh,
now-
and writing about the
Sorry.
Crystal Chenery Instagram, which, to be fair, wasn't on the air, but it was on.
well, he was on
It
air
was
though, at the
Harvey
time.
related.
It was
Yeah.
Harvey related. You've
Yeah, it was a
really-
real run there. And it felt like it happened over the course of 2 days, like that whole chapter.
Great chapter.
I'm sorry, everybody. I ruined radio.
Okay, time for a reality check.
I have 4 weeks to decide I'm going to drop my entire philosophy.
I am disgusted at how much you have copied my husband.
Just fine. I don't even.
We're back on the island, baby.
So good to be back.
I'm not there because I just knew that I wouldn't be able to keep it up with my ironically going to nearer to Love Island summer tour plans. But I desperately want to keep up with it. Alex, tell me what's going on.
Well, I mean, much the same, it's not going to...
radically flipping the format.
They have flipped the format,
Well,
though.
they
The
have
first-
changed the entrance. Normally, it's always all the girls arrive or all the boys arrive, and then they do that very cool sort of schoolyard picking type thing about who
Oh,
do you
she's
like.
there.
Nothing wrong with it. That's just what life is. But this time, They mingled. They sent in a few boys and then a few girls, so some of them got to know each other early, and then it was revealed that they were all going to be matched with people chosen by the public already. So there was none of that schoolyard picking. The public got to do it for them, mostly based on looks.
Was that tense at all? Is it?
Everyone was mostly pretty polite.
Yeah.
I'm just full disclosure, I'm sort of still at the Arrivals Lounge. I've watched like 3/4 of episode 1. So I know some of this context, but not much.
You're already so behind, Jane. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you might never get back. Or do you think you can?
No, that's what happened last season. I was all in, and about 2.5 weeks in, I just missed a few episodes, and that was that. You really got to commit, eh?
You do. And it's interesting that it's plummeted in ratings again this year.
Really?
It's 1 million down from last year, and last year was like 2 million down from the year before or something.
But what about when you say last year? Do you mean last? Like, i.e. that South African season, or is this
the
like
last
for like summer season?
The last like for like, I think. Yeah. Because the South African one is always lower. And it's always way worse, which is funny.
Presumably during COVID times, the ratings would have been sky high because we had naught else to do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it felt like that for us. I don't know. But there's something about the routine of it that I like, because it is literally just like sitting down to watch a soap opera. And it is already, we're only 5 episodes in, there's already starting to be like slightly spicy stuff. There's a lot of great characters. There's a guy, I won't spoil it, but there's a character called George who has said multiple times that there's certain people that he's levitating towards.
Oh, no, George.
But you got to give it up for that.
If he actually does that, if he pulls that off on TV,
that would be amazing.
That'll change the world.
That's, it's
Forget
Dynamo's.
everything you thought you knew about physics.
Dynamo's body double. It's the only other person who can do that. There's a great lady called Jess who's like a classic. She's an aesthetics practitioner. And she arrived, was like, I like guys with turkey teeth.
Yeah,
and
love that.
as soon as she said that, searches for turkey teeth went up 10,000%.
What, turkey teeth?
Turkey teeth is when you, like Luca's teeth from the season prior, where you go to Turkey to get cheap, massive white veneers.
Oh.
And that's why it's called turkey teeth. And she just froths it.
Well, I misunderstood that entirely. I thought it was like crooked teeth, like turkey teeth. Like if someone's a turkey, they're a bit wacky. I thought it was kind of wacky teeth.
Wow, the turkey community will have to respond to that,
I'm kind of a fan
Jane.
of a quirky tooth myself, you see. I prefer a quirky over a turkey, as it turns out.
If the alternative is those like giant white teeth, it's just madness. They look so funny.
She also got paired with, she says she likes a pretty boy, and she absolutely got paired with a pretty boy. Like he describes himself as a pretty boy, and she was just like, eh.
Yeah, not that one.
Not that one.
He was the one who levitates though, so maybe that put her off.
Come in handy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like a weird thing with Love Island where there's not many shows where you're like, you just have to give it 2 or 3 weeks and then it gets good.
By 2 or 3 weeks, you mean
like 24 episodes or something?
which is, to be clear, like longer than a lot of like longer than the whole of the UK office, for example. So it's a strange phenomenon.
Yeah, it really is.
Is Molly still there after 5 days?
Oh, Molly is still there. She is like the centre of it all.
Has she done any singing, dancing, acting?
Yet to actually see any of it.
She's a musical theatre girl, you see.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've really taken a shine.
So have half the villa.
Okay,
Jane.
right, gotcha. Okay, I need to stay on because it sounds like Molly's got a great arc. There's a big gap of silence
Sorry.
there.
That's never happened before.
That's swell.
I've been here for this whole podcast and it's never happened.
Why do I have to always be the one?
That's just
Well, I don't know what's next on the dock. I have to be looking
Please,
at you.
Elizabeth
I haven't got the
Holmes.
dock open.
You don't have the dock open.
I've got to
I've got the
leave.
tab
You're
open with
big
you
mum.
guys in it. I have to look at you. You can see me without the computer. Sorry.
Ultimatum, Queer Love. I don't know anything about this, so...
You don't know the format? It's a
No.
Netflix reality show where it's like couples where one of them really wants to get married and the other one's not sure.
Oh, yes, I do know this form. I've never watched it, but I've definitely seen promos for it before.
They issue a ultimatum to the person who's unsure and say, we're going to go into this experiment and break up for the course of it surrounded by other couples who are also unsure. And if we couple swap, so be it.
Wow.
And if you, and it's like, so you either leave deciding you want to be married, you want to break up, or you have a new partner. Those are the three options. You can't leave and still be the same.
Honestly, it sounds like my life. It sounds like my relationship history.
So is this legally binding? So if you go and you don't break up, you just have to get married, even if you don't necessarily want to, you still might be a little bit ultimatumed?
I don't know. I've never watched it far enough. But this series, I feel like I'm going to get into it because it's the ultimatum queer love, and it's all lesbian women, and they jump in real hard, real fast into the premise in a way that I have not seen before in other seasons. And it's looking very dramatic and very good.
This is on Netflix, yes?
It's on Netflix.
Maybe I can watch this one on account of me. If I mention I'm travelling to different countries.
Are you heading perchance to Spain?
I am, to continental Europe.
Where's Love Island?
Perhaps.
I could go to the villa.
I would
Or near the villa. Send up a flare.
Because they're recording mostly pretty real time.
Hey, look, this could be like... Remember,
Little Mr. Bean popping over the wall would be fantastic.
I think this is like, because, you never know. It could be like when Jane had to go to Melbourne but was actually going to Celebrity Treasure Island. Maybe I'm an intruder. Who can tell? I mean, the Mr. Bean-like appearance of me does sort of potentially stand in my way, as does my marriage and so on. But
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it for me. I'm loving this. I'm loving the idea of you at the workout, the workout station.
How dare you?
Popping together a lovely blueberry smoothie for your partner.
I don't know if I've got turkey teeth, so I can't imagine Molly being. Look, it's going to be a tough road.
How far is Spain from Turkey? That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
Not that far, eh?
a couple of thousand miles.
Okay, come on. You've come back with a chain. You've come back with an amulet. This time, it's got to be turkey teeth o'clock.
I would. To be honest, I would.
Can't wait.
So, if we want to crowdfund that, the world's most repellent, unconscionable crowdfunding campaign.
Honestly, also, though, I feel like something the cornies would do just for the lols.
I would.
Can someone please Photoshop that as Duncan with giant white turkey teeth?
It's absolutely done. The race is on between Ollie Chick and Wayne Lewis right now. Okay, Below Deck, Down Under, Season 2. As much as we didn't have the very best time we've ever had on a luxury yacht.
Well, you do, didn't I? I had quite a good time.
Yeah, I mean, you made lots of promises.
Yeah,
but we learned, didn't we, last time, that the key is to mainline it.
You binge it.
Binge it. Can't go week by week. Got to binge it. It's obviously done well enough that there's a season 2, which is premiering July the 18th. That's next Tuesday, 8:30 on Bravo.
Next Tuesday.
July.
Come on, Jane.
You've made a mistake there.
I hadn't finished my sentence.
Our slogan is...
Next Tuesday, if you are currently listening to this, on July the 12th. Okay? Let a girl finish.
You saved that there. Hats off
That
to
was
you.
incredible.
I've copied and pasted the blurb in the thing, but I don't need to tell you. I just know that Aisha's back.
Thank
Test
Christ.
you. And what about Lovely Man, Capitan?
I don't
I don't know if we need him back.
He's probably driving boats into marinas at the moment. And when I say into, I don't mean to park. I mean into, as in up onto the shore. I know I'm a bit late because I think it finished technically last month, but Ted Lasso, I'm sad that it's over. Did you watch it? We've never talked about it.
I also have not. I have not watched a single second of that show. Nor do I know what it's about. Nor do I want to know.
I took really against it because I think it was around the time that people were imploring me to watch Schitt's Creek, which I did for 3 debilitating, traumatic seasons in hell, and never ever liked it. And it seemed like the same kind of people who liked Schitt's Creek also liked Ted Lasso, and I was like, not again.
Exception to the rule. I love Ted Lasso. I couldn't get into Schitt's Creek either.
Okay, good.
I love Schitt's Creek, can I just say? I love
crazy.
Schitt's Creek.
Unbelievable.
It's so good. That was our lockdown show. Oh my God.
Well, this is the thing. I think Lasso is one of those for me too. I think it was a bit of a lockdown show at a time when we were all very ready to just be extremely sad for the rest of eternity. And along came this bloody little mustachioed happy bringer. And And we all started to believe again. Anyway, it's over and I'm sad about it. I've also got some pod recommendations. This is weird. I don't know what's happening here. But I'm currently listening to 2 different podcasts, both scammer ones. One of them's called Finding Samantha, which is great. And the other one's called Scamander.
Are they both the same thing?
2 different things. 2 different things. But I'm just, while I wait for one to have a new episode release, I'm mainlining the other. But just thought I'd put that out there for anyone who might want to listen to a podcast that's not just for the in between the releases of the real pod. You listened to any good pods lately? The Fold or?
I were listening to the Trojan Horse Affair, which I quite like, but I find the sort of podcasty kind of we're talking about making the podcast type stuff that trope quite irritating. I did listen to a very good scam one, but I don't remember the name of it, so maybe I'll look it up while Alex talks about the podcast she's listening to.
What are you listening to?
I'm so bad with podcasts. I feel like
to podcasts anyway.
the only one I listened to this great episode when I was weeding a garden. I forgot what it's called, but it's about this lady trying to figure out once and for all how tall Jake Gyllenhaal is. And it's really, really good because I've been on a bit of a Jake Gyllenhaal moment. We watched Zodiac on the weekend. Tremendous film.
Oh, cracking.
It's just amazing. It's nearly 3 hours long, but you don't feel it like most movies.
No.
You know, it's absolutely allowed it.
What I like?
Oh,
Is it
how
It's
funny?
not?
very good. It's not funny.
Or is it action?
It's spooky.
Is it, oh
and
no, I can't.
investigative-y.
Can't do thrillers. Can't do horrors. Give me a rom-com.
It's called Sweet Bobby.
Oh yeah,
podcast.
Sweet Bobby's fantastic.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be either that or Do You Know Mordecai? That's another one for you to add to your
No,
list.
that's good. That's good. I also went on Culture Vulture, the Siska podcast, to talk about the end of Succession, which was quite fun.
There you go. Heaps
We
to
took,
listen to.
honestly, more time to get to the actual talking about what the podcast was about than we do on Real Pod, which actually made me feel heaps better. It was 12 minutes of absolute
Wow.
bullshittery. So,
I would argue that the real pod is like about 45 minutes of absolute.
know.
We never get there. We
But
never get to what the
used to do
podcast
it-
is about.
Yeah, that's true. One day, though. No, but we used to, like, for example, do 8 minutes of talking about Nando's at the start of every podcast.
I don't see the problem.
Miss that.
I'm just so hungry for that. Right now, actually, because I was worried if I had lunch at the normal time, I would be too sleepy for the pod. So I've heroically sacrificed my own stomach to be with you.
Meanwhile, I've downed a fish taco. Like I was still licking my lips as I walked into the studio.
Wow.
And look at you,
I've got
still
some
awake.
leftover pasta. I also have been putting myself out for this podcast,
Wow.
waiting
You could
for
stand
my
to do that
delicious
every
meal.
single
I probably
time.
could. I can't. I just can't. I feel like ever since I had the rumbly tummy pod,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't come in here without eating. This is a bad time.
That was a great pod.
I'm also watching The Secrets of Hillsong. Now, if you remember last week, I was a bit down in the dumps for about 3 seconds because I'd put in the Discord, I really want to watch The Secrets of Hillsongs. Anyone got a sneaky linky? And there was no reply from the corns. Then they heard the podcast and they came through with the goods. Several cornies slid into my DMs. And I'm now...
Violated copyright law.
No. They just told me where I could buy it, obviously. So that's what's happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she said, obviously, so that holds up.
Yeah, that's again. If it's said here, it's true, and if it's not here, it isn't true. So that's the law.
Even the phrase is already changing.
It's a living document, pod, is what it is. I only just learned what a living document was in about the last week, so I'm liberally using it.
Is it like a Google Doc?
It's like something that's not set. It can change. Like if you have, a strategy doc that gets updated, say,
Like RNZ copy. Eh?
Yeah.
Jokes. I'm
topical.
freaking joking,
Oh, that's
man.
like proper news in here.
That was bloody wow.
Really good.
It was so shocking to have like an appropriate topical reference on this podcast. I'm sort of dumbfounded. I'm like, well, how will the cornies take that? Is that the end of it? Like, what do we do here? There's no precedent for this.
Actually, I feel like I need to say this. A corny posted in the corner. Actually, it was your, it was your wedding celebrant, Corny. She just wrote news and then posted a news story from 2014.
Yeah, that's more our style.
I know.
Our speed.
Right? And I was like, I love it, but I can't really put it on. It's not really news, but I feel like we need to. You've done something way too topical, Alex. We need to kind of like.
I can clip that and do it we'll put it in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
That protects the integrity of our podcast.
15 weeks, I think, is probably more
It's the
appropriate.
turtleneck, guys. I'm sorry. It's just
Yeah,
the
you're
power.
just like a.
There's a lot more blood like stuck in my head. I think that's it.
Do you
Is
want to
that
hear?
what makes you smart?
Again, not a science pod.
Do you want to hear the news from 2014 anyway?
I
now
do
that we're
actually.
here?
Yeah.
The line is sewer was blocked by large poo. Now, this is in the BBC News, by the way. Sewer was blocked by large poo, but you got to see the photo of the sewer blocked by the large poo. It's Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, classic
That
Pooh
is
Bear.
just beautiful writing. I mean, you know what you're getting. Like some headlines, you're like, oh, that's actually incredibly complex to try and, they've really worked hard to figure that one out. That one is just you're handed to you on a platter, but it still must be incredibly satisfying.
You can make lots of. You've been to the sewage treatment plants, haven't you, Alex? All sorts
have.
of things that you see.
Also, teeth, turkey teeth. God,
we
all
really
sorts.
talked about that. How stinky is it?
Hang on, that was
it
like
reeks.
that's like 2 years ago, wasn't it?
It was 5 years ago because I did it for the Spinoff TV, everyone's favourite program, which is turning 5 at the moment. Everyone's talking about it. And I went out and my camera person was Ra Paumare, who was a big part of that show. And I remember we were driving there and when we reached maybe like a 2 kilometre radius of it, he started dry retching behind the wheel because it started coming in through the aircon. And I just remember crying with laughter while Ra was like just crawling along the road, too scared to go any closer. It stank. And that's all of Auckland's business. Of course it's going to stink.
Worst stench of your life?
She really has to think about it. She's tossing up between a few options here. While you're thinking about it,
No, she's
she's
got
got
there.
somewhere. She's got somewhere.
I think it is.
Oh.
I think it is. But then it was contextual. I feel like I've had worse smells that have come out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Right, well, you weren't mentally prepped for a stank.
And it's a real shock. Actually, a lot of Auckland on my return recently.
Oh, hey, just get on. Well, now you end up at
I'm
Christchurch.
sorry.
That's fucked, actually. You can stay down there.
When I went to Ponsonby Road, I was like, poo.
Possibly. Absolutely not.
What's
You're walking around doing the fan in your nose in front of your face.
Smelly.
And
Smelly
that's what you were saying,
road.
walking down the road. Man, they would have been pissed off. How dare you?
I actually went to the sewage treatment plant on my cool end of year graduating intermediate. In fact, when I say intermediate, I'd been at the same primary school up to Form 2. That was our class trip at the end of the year. Everyone else goes to the Paraguay hot pools or Rainbow's End. We went to the sewage treatment plant.
So Rainbow's End's where the fun begins and the sewage treatment plant is where the fun ends.
Absolutely ends. And in fact, quite literally, because I remember those big tuny brushes and there were mattresses in there, but also to the literal fun ending, so many Muppet babies. It was around the time when Muppet baby toys from McDonald's that came in Happy Meals.
Do you think?
Done their dash.
Okay, let's try and figure out this mystery. So, is that children just eating the toy because they're it's in a McDonald's bag?
No.
Or is it angry dads who are like, oh, you've got to tidy your room. All right, I'm flushing it, and they flushed it.
I think it's kids putting toys down the toilet.
Okay. Well, that's the nice innocent explanation.
Yeah. With my experience with children, they fucking love to put something down the toilet of a certain age. But you can't. A child cannot digest. Well, I guess that would be how it ends up in the toilet. But a child can't swallow a Muppet baby toy.
How big is a Muppet baby
They're
toy?
like this big, mate.
Oh, no, that's not happening.
That's not happening.
Yeah. Again, science.
You're thinking like Shopkins or something. Or Little Shops, newer Little Shops.
No.
And that is the real pod.
Really?
Yeah.
That was it.
Finally.
That
It's done.
was a podcast. Fuck me.
You need a break, don't you? You need a holiday from this.
I'm
this
really
rubbish.
hungry, but man,
It's a podcast.
that's my life. I just did that. That's a podcast.
That's a podcast.
And now I go on holiday. I say, oh yeah, I just did a podcast.
Oh yeah, I'm just fresh from doing a podcast.
Man.
Sewer blocked by large podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Yep. Well done.
What a way to say goodbye, Duncan.
Adios.
Flabbergasted.
And thank you. I don't know why I just said adios. I've never done that before. Just trying something new. Oh, it's getting hot in here. I'm not even wearing a skivvy.
Yeah, I'm sweating.
Alex, I'll see you next week. Duncan, I'll see you around August time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Samuel, thanks.
August.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big
Bloody
one.
hell.
Big old.
Big 'un.
It's a lot. It takes ages to get to Spain by rowboat, which is how Duncan's doing it.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, Samuel, for putting up with us. And thank you, dear listener, for doing the exact fucking same.
I like that was singular. Appropriate.
Goodbye. Bye, Dunk.
Goodbye.
Bye.